So he's gonna have to lose that first.
I would say Priest has to lose first because you can't have Priest and Gunther. Gunther would tear him apart. All right, so then we get a really awesome Gunther video package. He says, "Tonight the world will witness the glory of the greatest Intercontinental Heavyweight Champion of all time, the Ring General Gunther. Gable thinks time is my enemy, but indeed time is my friend. Every passing day I keep building my lifelong legacy. I respect you, Gable, but you will not make a name for yourself at my expense. The fairy tale ends tonight." And then the Alpha Academy, they're backstage, and Saxon asks Gable if he has any final comments before the biggest match of his career. So then Maxine and Otis, they waste TV time, and then Gable, keep in mind this is the biggest match of his career, he does his stupid little thank you. So that moves us into Chad Gable versus Gunther. And just like he said last week, Gunther comes out alone. Gunther starts off with like a really painful looking arm wrench that like at one point he lifts Gable up by his arm and just slams him down to the ground. Gable, at one point, he tries some mat wrestling and Gunther just like deadlifts him from the mat and just tosses him outside the ring, which I thought was fucking hilarious, amazing, beautiful, just great. He's like, fuck this. Gunther was doing this thing where he was throwing Gable around. He was like, this is my ring. This is my ring. And there's actually one point where he's in the corner. He goes, oh, what's this, Gable? What's this? And he's like kicking him and shit. It was great. I like that new wrinkle of Gunther, the cocky German guy.
Yeah.
So then, it gets to the point where Gunther, he's hitting these big moves. Like there's a point where he's hitting them with these huge clotheslines and he's trying to pin him, and Gable just won't be beat. And then Gunther's just starting to show some frustration. And then out of nowhere, Gable hits a deadlift German suplex, and he gets almost a pin on Gunther. And at this point, the crowd starts chanting, "This is awesome," which I thought was kind of premature, but I mean, to be fair, before I go any further, this was an awesome match. So then Gunther starts beating Gable outside the ring, and then he goes for a chop on the ring post, but Gable moves out of the way, so then Gunther chops the ring post, and it looked really like he didn't seem to pull back on it.
He sure didn't.
So then Gable, he takes that opportunity to grab Gunther in a German suplex, and then he throws him over the barricade. And then he runs inside the ring, and he wins the match via countout. And you would have thought that he won the Super Bowl.
Which, as I said, which was called back Dusty Rhodes celebrating off of the countout, only to find out he wasn't the champion.
No, he knew he wasn't the champion, though. He didn't ask for the belt. He didn't grab the belt. He didn't hold it up. He was just celebrating, and he knew he wasn't the champion. That's why I'm coming for you, buddy.
I mean, to his defense, he did just do something that no one yet on the main roster has done in the year and a half that Gunther has been on the main roster. He was the undefeated, undisputed, unpinned, unsubmitted Intercontinental Heavyweight Champion, and Gable was the first one to defeat that. I mean, you could say it was equivalent to beating Goldberg, but via countout.
Goldberg actually lost to somebody though. He lost to Scott Hall and Kevin Nash in a handicap match. Or no, it was basically a handicap match. And Scott Hall needed a cattle prod.
I wasn't saying when he actually lost. I'm just saying, let's say Disco Inferno.
You said it's like beating Goldberg.
Let's say Disco Inferno beat Goldberg via countout. He would celebrate. That's what this.
Yeah.
Remember when they used to go through all those matches with Disco Inferno? I'm sure he was like at least 7 of the undefeated streak, like 7 times defeated, maybe more.
Yeah, this is like Disco Inferno beating Goldberg because this year he has lost to Dexter Lumis. He's lost to Priest and Balor. He's lost to Priest and Mysterio. He lost to the Royal Rumble. He lost to Rollins. He lost to Cedric Alexander and Shelton Benjamin. He lost to Reed. He lost to Cody Rhodes. Lost to Ricochet. Remember the last time we saw him, he was in a losing feud with the Viking Raiders. And he was just
Viking whatever match.
Yeah. And like I said, the match was awesome. I like Chad Gable, but they're just kind of handing it to him. They haven't really built him up to this moment. He's just thrown there. It's literally like they in the back. They're like, "Oh, somebody needs to beat Gunther by count. Let's do Gable."
Well, as of that Monday, we were 18 days away from Gunther being the longest reigning Intercontinental Champion of all time, which means we're also pretty close to him no longer being champion, as he's going to be moving on to bigger and better things. Seth Rollins. So,
Well, you think he's just going to lose it immediately?
I think, they beat the record.
Well, no, because Damian Priest, he has the Money in the Bank contract.
So he's going to have to lose that first.
I would say Priest has to lose first, because you can't have Priest and Gunther. Gunther would tear him apart.
Well, either way you slice it, by the time we get to WrestleMania, Gunther is either going to be champion or he's going to be headlining WrestleMania to go for the title.
I think he's a year or two away from that.
So what, is he going to keep the Intercontinental title for that long? Or is he going to not be a champion? We're going to have the visual of Gunther just not being a champion?
Well, he can button up his coat. I don't know. I mean, do you want him to hold on to the belt that long? Because I don't see the point in him dropping it and then immediately going to the title picture. So if he doesn't have it for a while, maybe he loses it and goes away for a while, retools, repackages. When he comes back, he's more focused. He goes, you know what? I lost the Intercontinental title, but I realized that it's just a stepping stone to my legacy. Seth Rollins, or whoever.
I've been saying that he should. The way we get the title off of him is we do okay, you can go for this title, but you're gonna have to relinquish the Intercontinental title. So he never gets pinned. Now, of course, that doesn't put the next person over, but once once he loses the Intercontinental title, it's probably going back to the mid card, like the unimportant part of the mid card, like where the United States title is down there.
It depends on who beats him. If it's Shush Boy, then yeah.
Well, who else? Who else can beat Gunther?
Nobody.
Now, I just kind of gave it away right there.
Think about it though. Gunther beat Drew McIntyre and Sheamus in the same match. And while Gable is a good wrestler, he's not Drew McIntyre and Sheamus. So for him to be the one to be the one, you know what I mean?
Well, we're kind of saying, he's the one that could wrestle with Gunther. He is also an Olympian.
And he's not even taking it seriously. He's still shushing and thank youing, and it's just fucking stupid. They haven't even tried to build him up. And they still have a little model girl just, I need to talk. I need to say things because I have tits.
When in reality, she shouldn't be saying anything and just standing there looking good. That's their purpose.
Or making a sandwich.
Like, why are you saying words? Why are you speaking? You didn't get spoke to. You don't know how to act right. Come here. I'll help you.
So yeah. So Gable's celebrating, and then Vinci and Kaiser, they come out and they demand that the ring girl announce that Gunther's still the champion, which I thought was funny. And then later on, Gunther screaming German in the back, and Kaiser says, "I'm going to make this right." And then he sneers at Vinci. He goes, "What are you going to do?" And then Vinci looks scared. And that's it.
I didn't get that.
What do you mean?
Like, what? Why is he mad at them? Why is Gunther mad at them? They were in the back. They had nothing to do with the match at all.
I don't think Gunther wasn't yelling at them, though. He was just yelling. I don't think he was taking it out on them.
I know, but why do you say, "I'll take care of this"?
Kaiser?
Yeah.
Because he loves Gunther.
Well, it just seemed like Gunther was taking his frustration out on them. Like, it was
No.
They weren't there at all.
He was clearly screaming in the back as if they weren't there.
Okay. Maybe we took it differently.
Yeah, Kaiser and Vinci, they're standing in the foreground while Gunther's in the background just screaming. And then Kaiser looks to Vinci and he goes, "I'm going to make this right. What are you going to do?" And then it ends with Vinci just looking scared. But no, I don't think he wasn't taking it out on them. He made on Monday, but
when Kaiser loses to Gable. I'm sure that's not going to go over well.
Right.
And I was gonna say, what if Kaiser's the one that takes down Gunther? Because Gunther's been taking his anger out on them.
If they build
There's
them up
like the
correctly.
punching bags.
Yeah. If they build it correctly, I wouldn't mind that.
Could be that. Could also be Dragunov.
Eh,
Could also be Braun Breaker.
no, fuck him. Well, nobody.
You said little nobody.
Yeah.
Well, he'd be more believable.
He's going to be the next Ryback. Didn't he lose to Braun Breaker in NXT?
Who?
Gunther.
No.
Are you sure?
Yeah.
Positive.
Oh, yes, he did. Sorry, I forgot about that. That was back in the trying to get Braun Breaker. Yeah, I forgot. That was stupid because
Well, I mean, it's a different promotion, yada, yada, yada. Or brand.
I think that was before his main roster debut. So,
Yeah, it was his final match in NXT.
what about Dijak? He could take down Gunther.
Ugh.
People aren't giving Dijak enough credit. I haven't even watched Dijak for like a second since he's. I hear good things about him, but I haven't watched. No, I did watch the Dragunov match. I forgot
Yeah.
about that one. Oh,
No.
that might make match of the year. I don't know.
I don't know. There's nobody that I can see. As much as I like to see it, I am realistic, and Gunther is not going to be undefeated, and he might even have to have a losing streak. But if they want to protect his, his loss record, his true loss record, then they either better build Gable up better, have him stop doing the fucking shushing.
Well, I don't think he's gonna stop shushing. That's his thing. He's got to get. You got to have a thing. You can't just be a.
He can do a different thing. Now, if it was the Chad Gable that was with Jason Jordan, and remember they were wrestling the Revival?
Yeah, what were they called? Alpha. They weren't Alpha. Golly.
I don't know.
Remember the greatest tag team ever? That was their name. Shelton Benjamin and Charlie Haas.
Yeah.
They were like a reincarnation of that.
Yeah.
Which was a good team. But
they were a great team. So if they,
American
what I'm saying is if it was that Gable, that's one thing. But now you've had him shushing and he's losing to fucking Ricochet, who Gunther beat twice. He lost to Mustafa.
Yes. He's a loser. But now he's a winner.
That don't make any sense because they haven't built him to be a winner. That's my point. He's just been thrown in this.
The problem is with what you're wanting, there's no one on the roster that is even being primed to be on the level of that. So then that means Gunther would have to hold the title until someone's ready in that position.
Exactly.
So now we're going like another year with him as champion,
or at least 6 months. Or 3 months, 4 months. Put some fucking time and effort into it. Don't just put Shush Boy in a position to fucking beat Gunther in a count out. Don't have him shushing and thank youing with model tits, stealing his little speech. Byron Saxton
straps down and everything.
Yeah.
Woof.
Byron Saxton asked Gable what he has to say, and Otis and fucking Titty Girl are taking over everything, and the only thing he has to contribute is thank you. Come on,
because I said it for him. Oh, thank you.
No.
Well, we'll tell you how it's going to turn out later on.
I find it hard to believe it won't go into Payback. It seems like they have room for a match.
You see, that's what makes it so brilliant. At least that's what I took away from it. For me, this was a brilliant finish. You needed, if you were going to extend this feud, which obviously they would need to because Payback is coming and there's no other feud you can start to get to Payback. And they've already established they weren't going to do this match first at Payback. So you do a count out that extends the feud because if Gunther beats Gable clean, that's it. there ain't no more match.
Not true.
So you get there's no more believability, we'll say.
That's not true.
Okay.
No, go ahead. You say your thing. I'll say my thing after you.
So you get the DQ finish. That gets you now to the Payback match. Gunther's clearly going to beat Gable at Payback. Maybe not. You have to stay tuned for our predictions. Now you get him because again we're 18 days away from him being the longest reigning IC title holder. So now that gets you to him being that getting that accolade. And now it's fair game after that.
Yeah. Or Gunther could have beat Gable, but he could have just like, barely beat Gable. And then afterwards Gunther would go for like the post match beatdown or something. But then Gable would German suplex him. So then you still have Gunther mad after the match. Kaiser wants to make defend Gunther's honor by having a match on Monday. Then Gunther goes out and he tries to do another post match beatdown. And then Gable says, "Hey Gunther, you almost lost to me last week."
He's gonna go for. Who said that? Almost a superhero, Nikki Ash, Nikki Cross, back when she was this almost superhero.
Sure.
I almost beat you.
Yeah.
Well, you didn't, so there you go.
Your boy wanted to challenge me. Well, I challenge you. Payback. And then, Gunther could even laugh at him like, I already beat you. It's like, what are you, a pussy? And then Gunther goes, that is ridiculous. But Gunther usually doesn't back down from a challenge, so.
Yeah, and I also like the story they're telling here that Gunther's all cocky as he is growing more and more cocky, and he was telling Gable, "You're nothing. I could beat you," but he couldn't beat him, and he's growing frustrated. Like, why can't I beat this guy? I'm Gunther. And then Gable just kept sticking around, hit that beautiful suplex, German suplex, stalling for like Gunther's on his hands and knees, and he
Yeah.
he
It was a good
overpowers him
match.
at that point.
It was a good match. Gable is great. And I don't have a problem per se with Gable being the one to be in this position. They just haven't properly built him up to be in this position. And the company he keeps holds him down too. But we'll see what happens.
We will see, because I think the window's closing soon. So if it ain't happening soon, it ain't gonna happen. And now we got to move on to someone new.